Hello, 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 world. This is Louise Hicks, your host of Aim to Purpose Spiritual Empowerment Hour. Let's talk about Minnesota. There's a lot going on in Minnesota now. And if you haven't heard, President Trump is telling them they have to go. And if you haven't heard why, you need to stay tuned because Street Media TV has shared some information about it. And also, they are profiling Tariq let me get his name right, Tariq Nasheed. He's talking about it too, and he has something to say. So again, Louise Hicks, please like, share, thumbs up, and by all means, leave your comments and subscribe to the channel if you haven't, because it's more to come. And again, I'm Louise Hicks, and let's go ahead and share with you about what's going on in Minnesota with the Somalian community. So here we go. We're going to share it and jump right into it. Here we go.
Donald Trump is at it again. You know, since he came into office, he vowed to go after this immigration situation and get rid of all these illegal migrants.
Let me pull it back to the beginning.
Donald Trump is at it again. You know, since he came into office, he vowed to go after this immigration situation and get rid of all these illegal migrants, illegal immigrants in this country. When the Democrats was in, they named places like Chicago, New York City, Philadelphia, sanctuary cities, and they were dumping immigrants into black communities, and they were coming in there with gangs, committing violent crimes, all kinds of insurance scams. Well, now he has his eyes set on the Somalis up in Minnesota. And he's been saying that they've been up in Minnesota for years, causing all kinds of havoc and destruction, running all kinds of scams, taking over government, while in government, committing all kinds of fraud crimes. He's putting all these things on Somalians, right? Now, I've never been to Minnesota. I don't know if it's true or not, but what I do know is I know that they had like Somali gangs up there. Now, as far as all the fraud stuff, you know, they're saying that this stuff is going on, but Donald Trump, he eviscerated the Somalian country and the Somalian people. Check it out.
Mr. President, thank you. The mayor of Minneapolis, Jacob Frey, is saying that he's actually proud to have the largest Somali community in the country, and his police chief.
Well, then he's a fool.
Well, his police chief is also
I
saying
wouldn't be
they
proud
might.
to have the largest Somalian. Look at their nation. Look how bad their nation is. It's not even a nation. It's just people walking around killing each other. Look. These Somalians have taken billions of dollars out of our country. They've taken billions and billions of dollars. They have a representative, Ilhan Omar, who they say married her brother. It's a fraud. She tries to deny it now, but you can't really deny it because, you know, it just happened. She shouldn't be allowed to be a congresswoman, and I'm sure people are looking at that. And she should be thrown the hell out of our country. And most of those people, they have destroyed Minnesota, okay? Minnesota, you have an incompetent governor. You have a crooked governor. He's crooked as hell, but he's incompetent. Waltz he should be ashamed. That beautiful land, that beautiful state, it's a hellhole right now. And the Somalians should be out of here. They've destroyed our country. And all they do is complain, complain, complain. You have her. She's always talking about the Constitution provides me with, go back to your own country and figure out your Constitution. All she does is complain about this country, and without this country, she would not be in very good shape. She probably wouldn't be alive right now. So Somalia is considered by many to be the worst country on earth. I don't know. I haven't been there. I won't be there anytime soon, I hope. But what Somalia, what the Somalian people have done to Minnesota is not even believable. It's not even believable. And a lot of it starts with the governor. A lot of it starts with Barack Hussein Obama, because that's when people started coming in. And you have to have people come in that are going to love our country, cherish our country. They want to kiss our country goodnight. They talk about our country. We want them to pray for our country. This is not the people living in Minnesota. And she's a disaster. She should not be, and her friends shouldn't be allowed. Frankly, they shouldn't even be allowed to be congresspeople, okay? They shouldn't even be allowed to be congresspeople because they don't represent the interests of our country.
Now, I'm sure that there's some Somalis in that country that's doing a lot of good things, that's doing a lot of great things. But when you have people in the country that's committing all kinds of fraud, they're doing all kinds of trucking fraud, everything, like Medicare fraud, you know, there's all kinds of crimes being committed by the people. That's what's going to stick out the most. People are going to run with that, and they're going to start now using social media to call that group out for those, the same way they do Black Americans. So a lot of y'all came here thumbing your nose up at us, but now you starting to understand what it feels like to be us, right? This is what's happening.
These Somalis in Minnesota, what's going on? Scam after scam. This Somali man scammed hundreds of Somali families out of $1 million. Like, he charged them $25,000 a pop to hold a house for them. So he sold them this scam, like, hey, this is the housing development. This is how it's going to be. You see how it's this right here? Yeah, it's supposed to look like this, but this is what it really looked like for a whole year, almost 2 years. Then the judge finally stepped in and was like, yo, this is fraud. You promising these people these homes and you haven't even dug into the ground yet. It's still grass. And they try to catch up with this guy, and he already packed all this stuff in a U-Haul truck and bounced. Right? So now these Somali families are like, man, is he going to give us our money back? Because mind you, he charged them $25,000 a pop, each Somali family, and sold them a dream. Excuse after excuse. And he had another fraud before this fraud.
So this was a Somalian that was scamming his own people. He was up there in Minnesota charging $25 a pop. And they was giving up that $25K. They was giving up the money. And then when they start questioning about, like, you know, where's the goods, he packed up in the van and skedaddled. He got up out of there, right? But wait, there's more.
This is the Feeding Our Future scandal, a pandemic-era scheme in which defendants allegedly stole over $250 million meant to provide meals for low-income children. Instead of feeding kids, prosecutors say the money went toward luxury homes, high-end cars, jewelry, overseas transfers, and an entire network of shell companies. According to the DOJ, the conspirators submitted fake invoices, fabricated meal counts, and even staged photos to make it look like they were serving millions of meals that never existed. In some cases, they claimed to feed more children than lived in entire neighborhoods. A federal jury found Amy Bach, the founder of Feeding Our Future, and Salim Ahmed Saeed guilty of conspiracy, bribery, wire fraud, money laundering. Federal officials say more arrests may still be coming.
Now, I live here in Philadelphia, and you have a lot of Africans here, but for the most part, the Africans stick to themselves. You know, they're not too loud. They're not invited, unless you're from, like, Liberia, Ghana. If you're from, like, Liberia, Ghana, then the Africans, they're wild and they're loud. They for the most part, ingratiated themselves into Black American culture. So a lot of the wild stuff that go on in the street, you got a lot of Liberian and kids from Ghana that's a part of that, right? Because they speak the language and they understand Black American culture a little more. But these other groups that come in, they for the most part stay quiet. They're not really running for office. They're not trying to be a part of. They have their own little communities there, right? If they are running scams, you don't really hear too much about it, right? You know, they just have their own little Africa over there in Southwest Philly, where I grew up at, right? That's sprouted up about 20 years ago. But in Minnesota, you have the Somalians. They're very loud and flashy. They got gangs. They riding around in flashy cars. They running for office. They're not really trying to ingratiate themselves into Black American culture. They're basically doing them. A lot of them even thumb their nose up at Black American culture, right? They talk trash, but then you see that they got these elaborate hundreds of millions of dollars of scams, right? They buying big houses. They got international hiding money, hiding money in international banks. They got all kinds of stuff that's being uncovered that Donald Trump is getting wind of, and now he's calling them out. He's exposing them, so they're coming after Ilian, what's her name, Ilian something, right? They're going after her because, she's basically speaking up for Somalians on behalf of Somalians. But I'm going to say this is Black Americans. We can learn something from them because we've been here, right? We should have our thing together, man. We should have our thing together despite the W ban. These people come here as immigrants and they basically damn near take over a whole state. I mean, we can learn something from that and do what we need to do. But they get real delusional because they saying this too.
You won't believe what the Somalis are saying about Minnesota. Bro, it is wild. Somalis are now producing thousands of videos in TikTok, and they are saying that Minnesota was promised to them 3,000 years ago. It is their land. From the videos that are circulating online, the Somalians are saying that Minnesota is where their forefathers and ancestors were living before relocating to Somalia. You can imagine. Just for context, there are about 80,000 Somalis living in Minnesota, to a point where they have elected a representative, Ilhan Omar. Just imagine, the number is so high that they can even elect a representative. These Somalis have said that they are not going to leave Minnesota. That is their native land, that is their ancestral land, and they are going to continue thriving in that land, regardless of what Donald Trump is saying about them. The President of the United States of America, Donald Trump, is now sending the ICE agents to Minnesota to deport all the Somalis to go back to their country. And he called their country, Somali, garbage. And also he said that the Somalians are garbage and they stink, and they should leave Minnesota because they have destroyed Minnesota and they have taken a lot of money sending back to Somalia instead of developing the state of the United States of America. The question is, what do you think? Are they right?
So this is where it gets crazy, because you got people going around saying that this is their promised land from 3,000 years ago in the Bible. And if you come against Somalis, like, man, see, first of all, you're foreigners in a whole other country, right? And you're saying that the Bible promised you this land separate from the land that you come from, that you're not doing nothing with, that you're running all kinds of scams and doing all kinds of wild stuff over there in that country. But this is the land that's promised to you, right? So you come here, you have police officers in that town that said that they only serve Somali people. You got the mayor speaking Somalian. So this is my whole thing though. As a Somalian, it's okay to have national pride and to feel that way, but to say certain things out loud when you are a foreigner in somebody else's country, to talk that way, to have these scams and all this stuff going on, you think that people going to just, how long you think people going to continue to turn a blind eye to that? Right? Where you start to be exposed. Now, you know, Tariq Nasheed, he's been going in on the tethers and calling them out. So when Tariq Nasheed got wind of this, he went to his channel, he said this.
See, we've been protecting a lot of people. See, we have been the protective layer for a lot of people. And let's be real, a lot of these Somalis, they misread the political landscape. A lot of these Somalis, they thought the Democrats was going to protect them, and that was going to be guaranteed protection. They assumed the Democrats that, you know, do the whole immigration thing, they stomp hard for the immigration. They thought, well, hell, we got the white Democrats who's going to back us up, but we are the fuel for the Democrats. We are the base for the Democrats. That's foundational Black Americans. So these people thought they could openly disrespect foundational Black Americans with no consequence. Now, the political tides, they're shifting right now. So right now, these non-FBA groups, these refugees, you are exposed and you are unshielded. Nobody's protecting you. Since we ain't doing it, since y'all told us to stay out your business and y'all was talking greasy, we're like, all right, you handle your candle. Now, all of these white tea people that you thought was going to prop you up, notice they ain't helping you. You see, the same people you counted on, they can't protect you. They ain't doing nothing to help you. And right now, there's a foundational Black American Renaissance delineation movement. So that has shifted the center of gravity over here to us, looking out for what we need to look out for. See, there's a major delineation renaissance right now. I'm telling you, we are in the middle of a renaissance. This foundational Black American Renaissance has made disrespect costly. There's a new cultural and political order where disrespecting foundational Black Americans comes with immediate spiritual, social, and political consequences. Ladies and gentlemen, the energy has changed. People thought the delineation thing was just some little side thing. No, no, no. It's a whole vibe right now, and it's real, and people are feeling the ramifications of disrespecting us. You know? And let's be real. Now, we keep talking about this. It was the main people who got real comfortable with disrespecting foundational black Americans like it was sweet. Notice they're the first ones to get hauled up out of here. Haitians were talking crazy. The Somalians were the main ones. All right, we're not going to glance over that. The Somalis, boy, they were having a field day talking crazy about us. All on TikTok, Twitter Spaces, Clubhouse for years. When we started getting on Twitter Space, the main adversaries we were battling against were those damn Somalis. Those Somalis was getting up there talking crazy about us. That was their whole thing. A lot of them, not just a few, it was a whole bunch of them. It was like a general consensus with a lot of them. So they thought insulting and belittling us and antagonizing foundational black Americans was going to get them some brownie points with the white supremacists. They were trying to score points with, see, that was the thing. They were coming over here with liberal Democrat policies, but when they got here, they started trying to align with the alt-right conservative types. You see? And that was one of our biggest contentions with them. They were trying to clout chase by denigrating us, thinking they're going to get more comfortable within the dominant society. It backfired on them.
So for years, the Somalians in Minnesota had carte blanche to just run wild and do what they wanted to do, and it went quiet, it went on deaf ears. But now they're being exposed, and they have very, very little room for error, right? Because they're under a microscope, and their protection has been taken off. Because a lot of the W folks up there in Minnesota, they're tired of these Africans coming there and they having to take orders from Africans. W folks don't like taking orders from black folk, right? So now their smug attitude, a lot of them voted for Trump too, but their smug attitude towards black Americans, because I'm often in those Twitter spaces listening in, and a lot of ones that's calling up to say disparaging things about black Americans be these Somalians. These Somalians get to America and they get a house and a little car and they think that they arrived because it's better than being in Mogadishu and the mud huts, right? So they get a house, they get a car, they get a little job making about $12 an hour, and man, they living it up, right? And then they come here and they start thumbing just looking down on black Americans, not realizing that if it wasn't for us, you wouldn't even be here, right? So I don't really have.
I'm going to stop it for just a minute because they've made a lot of points that I agree with. Having been on the planet indeed just about 75 years now in a couple of months, I've seen a lot, I've experienced a lot, and I agree with what they're saying because I've experienced some of this. And let me go a little further because one comment in the chat here made a very valid point also. And this person's by the name of Josh Norris 1504 stated a lot of these other groups of people who are getting their wake-up call have gotten too comfortable due to the government letting them get comfortable. So now here we are. I know for myself, I've seen all of this over 50 years now, where the government has allowed these illegals to come in. And now it's backfiring on the government because they allowed them to be hired in corporate America. They could go to school and get free education. You could come from a different state as a citizen and you could not get free education. And I'm talking about experience because I experienced this in California when I graduated from high school in Louisiana. And I came to California. I was treated like I was an illegal or something in terms of education because I was considered an out-of-state person, almost like non-citizen. while illegals were allowed to have free education in California, and someone challenged it as well. As I recall, there was a challenge to this policy, and I believe I can't recall the outcome of it, but all of this stuff has been going on forever. It just didn't start with the Somalian community. It's been going on forever under many presidents, Republicans and Democrats. So this is nothing new. However, once Donald Trump got into office, he had already said he was going to put an end to it, and he's working on birthright citizenship that came about the 14th Amendment because of African slaves, to give them an opportunity to become citizens. And that law is being challenged now as well in the Supreme Court. They have agreed to take it on, and we don't know what the outcome will be. However, this man from, what's the title? He's from Street Media TV. He made a valid point. Our ancestors made it possible for all of these people because of slavery. And here we are over 400, almost 500 years later. This government, this country has allowed a lot of illegals, and they're not just from Africa either. They are from Europe, they're from Mexico, they're from other countries. This was allowed by our government. All of it given free. Once upon a time, I recall in California, they had a 1-800 number. It was like a joke, actually, but they said 1-800 free, go to California, something to that effect. And just recently, this year or last year, California had some type of program where they were giving illegal immigrants, $150,000 interest-free so they could buy a home. Forget the citizens, forget the Americans. And Americans are fed up now with their tax dollars going to all of these illegals, where they are saying, go fight in your own country. Because that's what Black people had to do. And who was out there fighting with us to get some of the rights that some of these people have now that are illegals? So I don't have an issue with taking illegals and sending them back to their countries. I don't care where they came from, because it's other groups here too, all over. There's not just the Africans, or as we are talking about now, Somalians. It's not just them. It's other groups as well, as this person just said that I read. So with that said, let's go ahead and hear the rest of it. But I agree with what they're saying, because we did pave the way, our ancestors, for everybody to be here, to build this country. Our ancestors, amongst all of the atrocities that they had to go through in order to survive, just survival. And we learned to thrive, not just survive. And guess what happened? If you don't know the history, you can check it out, and I'll be talking more about that in another video, how our people built from nothing, and it was torn down by economic envy from white people. So let's go ahead and listen to some more.
Any remorse? Like you got these scams, $250 million scams being ran, right? You got dudes charging, taking $25,000 per clip, right, to get people some housing, and he packing up and speeding off, right, and scamming his own people. So those are the scams that we know about. What about all the scams that we never heard of? What about the scams that we don't know about? Right? They going after Ilhan Omar, I think that's her name. They going after her, right? It's just a whole bunch of stuff going on because their protection is gone, and now the light is shining on them, and it's only a matter of time before they turn to Black Americans and say, "Help us, help us." No, we're not helping. No, we're not helping nobody no more, because we opened up our arms. Big Mama opened up her arms and loved on everybody, and y'all didn't love on us back. So we just gonna sit this one out and just, just watch. We ain't getting involved in nothing. But y'all gotta let me know what y'all think about this, man. If you made it this far in the video, hit that like button, subscribe to Street Media TV. Leave your comments in the comment section. Let me know what you guys think. And remember, I love y'all. Till the next time. Peace.
Okay, let's stop sharing. And I'd like to thank Street Media TV for that, because I feel it was spot on because of everything that Black people have gone through in this country, still going through it. And as far as President Trump, I mean, him calling them garbage and all of that, I don't feel that was all necessary. However, we don't need illegals or anybody taking our tax dollars through fraud. And we know our government is corrupt as well. So uh, it's President Trump can talk about other countries, but America is corrupt too. The politicians are bought because they have lobbyists like Big Pharma and others, the big corporations, the billionaires, and they give welfare to billionaires. That mean they are draining the system as well. So it's just America gone wild. And something has to be done because it's draining us. Everything is sky high. The food is we're out of control with how we can eat now. It's just this whole country, the educational system needs to start it over, really, because it's not conducive to creating our future. These children are our future. So there is a lot to be learned from here, as you've seen and heard everything that's been said. And something has to be done because we can't continue to support the world, people coming from other countries that aren't willing to fight in their own country. And I agree with that. You need to fight in your own country for your rights, just like Black people have fought, been water hosed, just all kind of atrocities for our ancestors. But we are resilient people, so you need to take a lesson on that part from us. And as the street media podcaster said, we could take a lesson too, because these people are foreigners and they've come over here and they're trying to take over a state and committing fraud, allegedly, if all of this is true. And our tax, that's why everything is so expensive for us. Because we in sending all of our money, tax dollars to these foreign countries. So President Trump need to think about what he's saying there about them and start thinking about all the billions of dollars that we're giving to corporations, corporate welfare, and to foreign countries. And everything is skyrocketing for us. Our taxes are out of control now. Property taxes, all the taxes, everything, energy. And we as Americans, we need to speak up and speak out about it. And I've always said that for God has not given us the spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. And we need to start speaking up and speaking out, particularly us as Black people in this country whose ancestors built it, and the debt has never been paid. And that debt being reparations. And it's not a handout, as some may speak. It is not a handout. Who goes to work for free amongst atrocities, being raped, beaten, tortured, hanged, or hung? So that's a debt. It's not a handout. And I stand by it, and I'm unapologetic about what I speak about because I've seen a lot over my nearly just about 75 years in a couple of months. And I've spoken of it on some of my podcasts. So therefore, Again, I am Louise Hicks. Please share this video. It's vital that we share it because Americans of all Americans, we should be sick and tired of our tax dollars going to foreign countries and illegal people that need to fight in their own country, just like we did, our forefathers. So again, please share this video. Please like, thumbs up, and by all means, leave your comments. I'd like to know what your thoughts are about this. And again, thank you to Street Media TV and to Tariq Nasheed, because I agree, you guys are spot on. Again, Louise Hicks here, and I always tell you, your power lies within you. Let it loose because your destiny is your command. And until the next video, much love.